Prime Minister Modi to interact with the IPS probationers after the Dikshant Parade ceremony at Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel National Police Academy through video conference today. 131 IPS probationers, including 28 lady probationers, have completed 42 weeks of basic course phase 1 training at the academy. Prime Minister Modi delivers special keynote address at the 3rd annual conference of US-India Strategic Partnership Forum, invites investors to India while listing far-reaching reforms initiated by the government. Says the ease of living is as important as the ease of doing business. He also adds Atmanirbhar Bharat ensures India's strength as a global force multiplier. India strongly urges China to expeditiously restore peace and tranquility in the border areas through complete disengagement and de-escalation, says India firmly committed to resolving all the outstanding issues through a peaceful dialogue. Reiterates the situation at the border should be handled in a responsible manner. Army Chief General M.M. Narawane takes stock of operational preparedness in eastern Ladakh along the line of actual control. The Army Chief briefed by senior field commanders in the backdrop of recent developments. The Chief of the Air Staff visits the frontline air bases in Eastern Air Command to review the preparedness. The Narcotics Control Bureau team raids the residences of Bollywood actor Rhea Chakrabarti, her brother Shaurya Chakrabarti and Sushant Singh Rajput's former manager Samuel Miranda in Mumbai. The NCB teams conduct raids in connection with Sushant Singh Rajput's death case. Six-member central team assesses the extent of damage caused by the floods in Bihar, holds a review meetings with the district officials and the meetings affected people to inquire about the ongoing relief and rescue operations. The team to meet the Chief Secretary and state disaster management officials today. India continues to scale up testing with over 11.7 lakh COVID-19 tests conducted in the last 24 hours and over 4.5 crore tests conducted so far. India reaches another peak of over 68.5 thousand single-day recoveries in the last 24 hours. The recovery rate crosses 77% with over 29.7 lakh recoveries. Hello and good morning. You're watching Doordarshan News with me, Nancy Kohli Mahajan. Our top story: Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be interacting through video conference with the IPS probationers during the Dikshant Parade event at the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel National Police Academy today. 131 IPS probationers, including 28 lady probationers, graduated after completed 42 weeks of the basic course phase 1 training at the academy. They joined the academy on 17th December 2018 after completing their foundation course at the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration in Mussoorie and Dr. Marichanna Reddy HRD Institute of Telangana. During the basic course training at the police academy, the probationers have imparted training in various indoors and outdoor subjects including law, investigation, forensics, leadership and management, weapon training and firing.
The 2018 batch of Indian Police Service probationers at the Dikshant Samaroh in the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel National Police Academy in Hyderabad. 76 candidates out of the 131 candidates passing out are from engineering studies. The batch includes 28 women, 4 doctors, and about 27 of them hold a degree in arts. 13 from science background and 3 of them graduated in law. 13 probationers are from both the Telugu states, out of which one of them holds a PhD in mathematics. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is slated to address the probationers virtually from New Delhi after the Dikshant Parade.
We are also extremely honored and privileged that the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, has very kindly consented to be the chief guest of this occasion and will lend his virtual presence to this parade by having a live interaction with the officers immediately after the parade is completed.
The probationers during their training got an understanding of policing and mindset of common citizens during COVID season. Their mandatory district political training is for 6 months.
This particular batch had the proud privilege of being part of the Corona Warriors, as they are called now, because they were in the districts doing their hands-on training when the lockdown hit us. And we are very happy to share with you that we had glowing reports about their conduct, their leadership in the field where they faced the challenge and did commendable work.
They were also trained on the challenges of cybercrime and other aspects of policing, which comprised 42 weeks of basic training, followed by district practical training in their respective cadres for 28 weeks and 13 weeks, phase 2 training at the academy. Bureau Report, Doordarshan News, Hyderabad.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi delivered the special keynote address at the US-India Special Partnership Forum, the Strategic Partnership Forum, third annual leadership summit on Thursday through video conference. The theme of the 5-day summit that began on 31st of August is US-India navigating new challenges. And talking about the various challenges, Prime Minister Modi listed the various economic benefits that will accrue when the investment comes to the Indian shores. He said the opportunities are both in the public and the private sectors, in the core as well as social sectors, as he invited all to invest in India.
For challenges in India, you have a government that believes in delivering results. A government for which ease of living is as important as the ease of doing business. You are looking at a young country with 65% population less than 35 years old. You are looking at an aspirational country that has decided to take the nation the new heights. This at a time when we mark 75th years of independence. You are looking at a country with political stability and policy continuity. You are looking at a country with commitment to democracy and diversity. Come, be a part of this journey with us.
And talking about the clear and present challenge that confronts the entire global community, Prime Minister Modi listed the various measures that India took to successfully fight the pandemic and limit its spread and effect in India. He said the pandemic impacted many things, but not the aspirations and the ambitions of 1.3 billion Indians.
Through the entire COVID-19 period and the lockdown, the government of India was clear on one thing: the poor have to be protected. The Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana for India's poor is among the largest support system seen anywhere globally. Free food grain is being provided to 800 million people. This scheme operates for 8 months. 800 million people means more than double of USA's population. The pandemic has impacted several things, but it has not impacted the aspirations and ambitions of 1.3 billion Indians.
Prime Minister Modi also reiterated India's resolve to move boldly towards a self-reliant nation.
1.3 billion Indians have embarked on one mission to make an Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant India. Atmanirbhar Bharat merges the local with global. It ensures India's strengths act as a global force multiplier. Time and again, India has shown that our goal is global good. Despite our large local needs, we did not shy away from our global responsibility. The responsibility of being the world's leading producer of generic medicines. We ensured constant supplies to the world.
On to our next big focus now. India has strongly urged China to sincerely engage with the Indian side for expeditiously restoring peace in the border areas through complete disengagement and de-escalation. Briefing the media, the External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Anurag Srivastava said the way ahead is negotiations both through the diplomatic and military channels. He stated the Indian side is firmly committed to resolving all the outstanding issues through a peaceful dialogue.
The way ahead is negotiations, both through the diplomatic and military channels. The Indian side is firmly committed to resolving all outstanding issues through peaceful dialogue. We therefore strongly urge the Chinese side to sincerely engage the Indian side with the objective of expeditiously restoring the peace and tranquility in the border areas through complete disengagement and de-escalation in accordance with the bilateral agreements and protocols.
And the ministry spokesperson also said the situation witnessed in the border areas in eastern Ladakh over the past 4 months is a direct result of the actions taken by China aimed at effecting unilateral change in the status quo of the region.
It is clear that the situation we witness over the past 4 months is a direct result of the actions taken by the Chinese side that sought to effect unilateral change of status quo. These actions resulted in violation of the bilateral agreements and protocol, which ensured peace and tranquility in the border areas for close to 3 decades.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has said a solution to the Indo-China border row has to be found in the domain of diplomacy. Speaking at an online event for the launch of his book, the minister said that India and China have agreement and understanding that must be scrupulously followed by both the countries.
We have a history, okay, we have a long history. The problem is, you know, the more difficult parts are more recent. This is not the easiest of times in the relationship. We have agreements and understandings with China. They must be, the agreements and understandings must be scrupulously observed by both parties. Neither party should attempt to change the status quo unilaterally. And the reality is what happens in the border will impact the relationship. You cannot separate. I'm totally convinced that the solution to the situation has to be found in the domain of diplomacy.
Army Chief General M.M. Narawane is on a 2-day visit to Ladakh to carry out a comprehensive review of the security situation in the region in view of China's fresh attempts to change the status quo along the southern bank of Pangong Lake. The Army Chief will be briefed about the evolving situation by top Army commanders overseeing deployment of the troops as well as India's combat readiness in the region. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal R.K.S. Bhaduria, has also visited key air bases under the Eastern Air Command and reviewed the Indian Air Force's combat readiness along the line of actual control and in Arunachal Pradesh and Sikkim in view of the heightened border tensions with China. Meanwhile, the Chief of the Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat, has assured the nation that the forces are prepared to face any situation.
We have our protocols in the way we want to ensure peace and tranquility along the borders. We have our border management protocols which have been signed between us and China right from 1993 onwards, and we have modified the protocols continuously. But of late we have been seeing some aggressive actions by the Chinese, but we are capable of handling these in the best suitable way. We have our tri-services, that is the Army, Navy and Air Force, capable of dealing with our threats along our frontiers.
Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, who's on a 2-day visit to Russia, held the meeting with the Russian Defense Minister General Sergei Shoigu in Moscow on Thursday. The meeting covered a broad range of areas of cooperation, including defense and strategic cooperation between the two countries. The Raksha Mantri briefed General Shoigu on the Make in India defense program in the context of Prime Minister Modi's Atmanirbhar Bharat vision. Both the sides welcomed the advanced stage of discussions for the establishment in India of an India-Russian joint venture for the production of AK-203 assault rifles, which are considered one of the most modern weapons available for the infantry forces. The Raksha Mantri will also be attending the combined meeting of defense ministers of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the Collective Security Treaty Organization and the CIS members in commemoration of the 75th anniversary of victory in the World War II. The defense ministers of all the 8 SCO member nations are expected to deliberate on regional security challenges like terrorism and extremism and the ways to deal with them collectively. Now, news from back home. The Narcotics Control Bureau has raided the residences of Rhea and Shoaib Chakrabarti this morning in connection with a drug trafficking probe linked to the case of actor Sushant Singh Rajput's death. Another team of the Anti-Narcotics Agency also raided the residence of Sushant Singh Rajput's house manager Samuel Miranda. Search operations are currently underway in all the 3 places. These raids are being conducted in connection with Sushant's death case. Let's go across now to our correspondent Yogesh Sheetal, who's joining us from Mumbai. He's been keeping a track of developments on that front. Yogesh, what can you share with us? Of course, the investigation getting deeper by the day, and of course, more angles now being looked at linked to the actor's death.
All right, Nancy, this is in fact a surprise raid that is being carried out at this point in time at all 3 locations, all 3 residences of Rhea Chakrabarti, her brother Shoaib Chakrabarti, and also Samuel Miranda, the house manager. Samuel Miranda is very important, accused in this case. He's named in the FIR, in the CBI FIR, and he's also, Sushant's father has made allegations that Samuel Miranda was the key person who was involved in providing drugs to Sushant Singh Rajput. So this is very important. The raids currently are being conducted in connection with the drug trafficking probe linked to this case, and at around 6:30, NCB teams along with Mumbai police officials have reached Juhu Tara Road residence. Juhu Tara Road, that is prime Rose residence where Rhea Chakrabarti residing, and also Shoaib Chakrabarti also residing there only. And Samuel Miranda is residing at different locations, that is Taha Road area. So these 3 places are currently being raided by the NCB. Why NCB is important in this case? Because NCB has made arrest in this case, the first agency.
Yes.
We know that 3 agencies are probing this case, ED, CBI and NCB. So NCB has already arrested 2 accused which are currently in NCB's custody till 9th of September. And it is believed that during interrogation, it is likely that NCB get some information or get some clue, some lead on possible drug racket, possible drug position, and on that basis the raid is being conducted. To be seen that what comes out, but this is definitely a big step by the NCB as far as this case is concerned.
Absolutely. Thanks, Yogesh, for those updates. We'll, of course, be tracking all these developments with you. More on that case. NCB raiding the residences of Rhea Chakrabarti and Samuel Miranda for now. Let's move on now to news coming in from Jammu and Kashmir. An encounter is underway in Baramulla. A joint team of the police and the security forces launched a cordon and search operation at Yedipura in Patan area of Baramulla district in North Kashmir, following specific information about the presence of terrorists there. The search operation turned into an encounter after the terrorists fired upon a search party of the forces, who then retaliated. And let's get more inputs on that from our correspondent Salman Qazi. Salman, what more can you share with us about that encounter that's underway?
This encounter is underway in Yadipura area of Patan, which is in North Kashmir, Baramulla district. This almost like midway between Srinagar and Baramulla. According to the latest reports, the firing stopped for some time and then it has resumed again in the Yadipura. And we are also getting reports that one of the army officers has been injured in this, though we don't know the kind and extent of the injuries, but there have been injuries to an army officer in this encounter. that has been reported to us from there. And moreover, according to local reports, there is a good probability that 2 to 3 militants are hiding in a house which has been surrounded, and currently the exchange of fire is taking place.
Okay. And, the forces must have got Salman a tip-off as far as the presence of terrorists there after acting upon which, of course, the cordon and search operation was then launched.
Yeah, definitely. These are all intelligence-driven inputs. Security forces have a wide variety of intelligence inputs which they use to generate intelligence, and then based on that intelligence, they launch certain cordon operations. In this operation,
yes,
they had inputs and they were fired upon by the hiding.
And the number you are confirming, Salman, as far as the number of terrorists, hiding there in that area is around 2 to 3, is what you're telling us?
Yeah, that's what has been reported from our local reporters here.
All right, Salman will keep tracking more developments as far as that encounter in Baramulla is concerned, which is underway. Of course, that was started after the forces had launched a cordon and search operation. And then, of course, the terrorists had begun firing there, of course, after which the forces had then retaliated, which resulted into an encounter which is underway in Baramulla. Moving on now to some other news, the turnout of the students in the ongoing joint entrance examination, main examination for the last 3 days, has been very encouraging. On the first day of the examination held on the 1st of September, over 54.67% candidates appeared. On the 2nd September, the number then increased to 81.08%, and then on the 3rd, the turnout crossed 82.14%. The main examination of the JEE will be held till 6 September, for which 660 examination centers have been set up across the country. The National Testing Agency has taken several steps to conduct the crucial exam safely, increasing the number of examination centers, alternate seating plans, fewer candidates per room, and staggered entry and exit, among other measures taken. The Punjab government has decided to allow free walk-in testing for COVID-19 in the government hospitals and mobile vans to check the spread of the virus. The testing will take place at a nominal cost not exceeding to 50 rupees by private doctors and hospitals to encourage the increased COVID-19 testing. People who want their results immediately can offer rapid antigen testing, while the RT-PCR testing will also be similarly available. The rapid antigen test results take 30 minutes, which will eventually lead to a substantial increase in the testing and early diagnosis and treatment. And updates now on COVID-19 pandemic across the country. While India's battle against COVID-19 continues, the central and the state governments have been earnestly implementing the strategy of testing, tracking and treating, and India now has seen an unprecedented increase in the daily tests conducted for COVID-19. More than 11,72,000 samples were tested till Thursday, taking the total number of tests to more than 4.5 crores so far. This scale has to be seen in a context. Till 30 January, India was conducting just 10 tests per day. The daily average has now exceeded 11 lakh tests on Thursday, putting India just behind the US in the terms of number of tests conducted per day. And shifting focus now, in Bihar, a 6-member central team visited Muzaffarpur, Darbhanga and Gopalganj district on Thursday to assess the damage caused by floods in the state. The team, headed by Joint Secretary, Home Affairs Ministry, undertook intensive tour of the flood-affected areas to assess the extent of the damage to crops, houses and infrastructure. The team will hold a meeting with the state government officials to collect information. The team will then submit its report to the central government after the visit. In Gopalganj, the central team visited several areas of Baikuntpur, Sidavalia, Barauli and Majagad blocks and inquired about the reasons for the breach of the embankment there. The team also visited various panchayats of Muzaffarpur district to assess the damage caused by the floods and collected information from the local people. The central team also visited Kevati block of Darbhanga district to assess the crop damage due to floods and talked with the farmers. Meanwhile, the flood situation has further improved in 16 districts of the state. People are now returning to their villages. Although the water level of the Ganga river is still above the danger mark at many places including Patna, but due to scanty rains in the past couple of days, the water level of other rivers has started returning to normal in the last 3 days due to increase in the rain. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the news. Thanks for being with us.